Okay, so good morning, everyone. My name is Avel Espiritu, and I'm with Red 5, and I'm going to be your facilitator for this Lean Coffee event. And just to give you a heads up, this is the first time, or many times you've been here. I'll just repeat it. The Edmonton Lean Community of Practice hosts this Lean Coffee the third Friday of every month from September through June. And we hold it from about 9 a.m. to about 10 a.m.-ish. At some point, we will be doing them on location again, but for now, we're doing the virtual environment as we're on the, hopefully, fingers crossed, the back end of the COVID restrictions. So Lean practitioners from our local community meet and we discuss various Lean issues and lessons learned through a structured yet agendaless process where attendees can decide on the topics and the conversation for the day. So, everyone here gets to decide what we're going to talk about. And there's quite a diverse crowd here that we can pull to get really cool information out of. So on that note, all are welcome, from beginners to the Lean experts. There's no expectation for participation. There's no expectation to stay the entire hour-ish. If you have to bounce out, you can, or if you come in late, not a worry. Some people come to every meeting, others come when they can, and generally the sessions are quite fun. At least I think so. I'm a Lean nerd, so I'm okay with that. And it tends to include a lot of laughter, and we love to see new people, and we love to see the repeat people as well too. So on that note, I'm going to go into what the Lean Coffee is all about. We're all going to brainstorm topics. So I'll bring everyone to me. So we're going to brainstorm topics. There's going to be a Kanban board you see down there below where you can click the plus button and then add topics. At that point, I'm going to hold in a voting session and we're going to vote on the topics. When we vote, a little window is going to pop up where you hit join voting, and you're going to be able to choose on your topic that you like. You choose your favorite topic, and you get 3 votes. So out of the 3 votes, you can either stack your vote or you can spread them around. You can be strategic. You can vote on your own topic or you can vote on someone else's. Not a worry. If you change your mind, you're like, you know what, I kind of like this topic rather than other ones. As you're scrolling down, you just hover your mouse over the radio button and you can plus minus your votes back and forth and redistribute them as you need to. Now, for whatever reason, if you happen to go oops and you exit the voting session, no big deal. If you go into the top right corner of your mirror board screen, hit that double down arrow, add the voting link, and then from there, you can just join back into the session. But that's only if it happens. If it does happen, I'm also here available to help kind of get you back in there and corral you back. Okay. Once we're done voting, I set the timer to 6 minutes, and we start to talk about the conversation that had the most votes. So I'll restructure the topics and I'll put the first one in that had the most votes, and we'll talk about it for 6 minutes, open discussion. Everyone can sit there and talk. If you wanted to, use your reactions, put the raise hand, and I'll help facilitate to make sure everyone has a chance to talk. But otherwise, I treat it like Canadian Thanksgiving. So, if you don't talk, if you don't go up there and eat, you're not going to get something, right? So just don't be afraid just to talk as much as you feel you need to. But if there's someone who's a little bit more quieter and wants to raise their hand, I'll be there to help facilitate it. When the timer goes down, right, we have a chance to vote. Now, this is where y'all get to vote whether you want to continue doing it. Please use the reactions, and you can use the thumbs up or the love. And just kind of hit it on your reactions, and I'll see from the icons that are floating up whether the general consensus is to continue talking about it or not. And if I see a lot of it, I'll say, okay, let's continue talking about this one, and I'll redo the timer for 3 minutes, and we'll continue talking about it. When I don't see a lot of emoji reactions out of it, then I'll go on to the next topic and I'll reset the timer for 6 minutes, and we'll rinse and repeat until one of 2 things happen. We either get to our time, which is about 9:50 our time, or we run through all the topics, and then we'll go into key takeaways. where we'll talk about, what did you like about the session? What did you dislike? What's your plus delta, so to speak? What did you want us to start doing or stop doing? And then I'll talk about when our next link copy is. I'll clap hands and we'll be complete. I saw there was one raised hand there. Maybe someone was practicing, but did anyone have any questions about how we're going to go about the link copies so far? I have everyone muted by accident because there is some feedback, but you guys can just unmute yourself if you need to. Okie dokie. So let's begin. I'll bring everyone to me. This here is the Kanban board where we're going to be adding our topics. So you just have to hover on there and add a new card. So I'm going to put a timer up for about 5 minutes or so. And you have an opportunity to sit there and generate topics. I'll put a timer up there for, let's say, 7 minutes. So during this time, you guys can sit there and generate topics as much as you want. The price of admission is at least, sorry. That thing was set to no music. There we go. The price of admission here is you have to at least put up one topic for us to discuss. Anything and everything to do about lean, lean in the construction industry, lean in any industry whatsoever. The majority of our people here does have a construction background, but there are a few people here who have lean beyond just construction. So if you wanted to talk about that, like in the office environment or the knowledge worker, that works as well too. Or if it's outside of construction as well, not an issue. Maybe it's a challenge that you're facing right now that you kind of want to pull the group to kind of see, hey, this is something that I've been seeing that I don't know quite how to address. Maybe there's something that I'm seeing that I can get some help on. I've seen a lot of people do that. Or there's something that you're really happy that you did. You're like, this is really cool. I want to be loud and proud about it, and I want to share it with everyone because you never know where ideation comes from, and we can improve on the improvement, so to speak. So those are also really cool things to do as well too. Or if you're just looking for, hey, did anyone ever come up with this or see a book or an article or a video? For you myself, I have my own little tickle trunk of stuff that I can draw upon. I can throw out there to the Lean community, but I'll wait for you guys to kind of draw it out. But you would be surprised at the plethora of knowledge out there just in the group. People go, hey, have you thought about that? That'd be kind of cool. Another topic as well too is like maybe it's not about lean. Maybe you just want to talk about the Oilers. Do you think the Oilers are going to make the playoffs? Oh, geez, they just fired their coach. What's that about? He just wants to talk about anything like that, or they just want to talk about hey, I heard about that. Abel took his kids snow tubing. Where was that again? What's the best snow tubing place? I'm a little bit of a foodie. It's like, hey, what do you suggest is a really good place to go get me some scotch or some gin, or maybe something to eat. Be like, hey, what type of food are you looking for? Throw that topic down, and we'll vote on it, and we'll see what we discuss. Everything under the sun is up for discussion. Some pretty good topics up there right now. Peer mentoring. Lean is about mentors, continuous improvement. What are people? how to get the team to slow down. That's an interesting one. Virtual COVID lean practices, how to convince people to think. Nice. How do you select a project? How to stop procrastinating. I know, maybe we can defer that one to later. I'm here all day. I'm interested in knowing examples of how other offices use Kanban. Yeah, cool. Dashboards, any Power BI nerds? Oh yeah, there's probably some here, but if not, we can definitely sit there and go in the tickle truck and see if there's some ways we can leverage IoT or artificial intelligence to help display your continuous improvement metrics. So I'll let this go for about another minute. Looks like some of the topics that are starting to die down. So I'll wait for these last two or three topics to sit there and go through. The thing as well too is that as we vote on topics and as we're kind of going through, if you're like, oh, that was kind of interesting topic or whatever, feel free to add a card back in. Sometimes we kind of go through them and we can re-put them back in again and add them to the queue. Oh, great. Awesome. So Karen just put on there a really good topic about procrastination. So I'll make sure that gets added to our plus deltas. There, if you look on the right of the Kanban board, I've put the link there if you want to get all clicky on it. Okay, it looks like we got all the topics generated here. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to put a voting up, and we're going to vote on these things. So let me select the objects. Oops. And everyone has about 3 minutes now. You have an opportunity now to vote on your topics. You get 3 votes. You can stack your votes on your topic or someone else's topic, or you can spread them out. But everyone gets 3 votes here, and you have to join the session voting to be able to participate. And you can either click the card itself, or you can click the radio button to vote on these things. Once I see that everyone's voted, I can end the session early. Again, as a reminder, if you voted on something you want to redistribute, just hover your mouse over the radio button and you can plus minus your votes up and down and redistribute it as you need to. You can see the majority of us have done voting, just waiting for 1 or 2 more. Great, looks like everyone's done voting. So I'll tally up the scores. Awesome. So it looks like peer mentoring is number 1, followed by lean as a metric. And then we'll talk about I'm interested in examples of Kanban. How do you select a project? And then we're going to go into how to get the team to slow down, virtual lean virtual COVID lean practices, how to convince people to think, how to stop procrastinating. We'll put that one at the bottom. Just kidding. And dashboards, any Power BI nerds. Cool. Awesome. So that is the order of our topics that we're going to be going through. So the first topic is going to be peer mentoring. So this is the one we're going to be talking about. I'll set the timer for 6 minutes, and we'll have an open discussion about what peer mentoring is and how you can get involved. So I'll set the timer here. Now that's the topic that I put on. And this one came up to me. I'll call these two ladies out, but Sarah and Karen here in our COP, they kind of get together and they talk about lean and they mentor each other. And I thought that this is a really cool topic to discuss because, you know what, you don't have to wait for a third Friday of every month to kind of get in front of someone and just to talk about lean. There's probably other people out there that would be available, myself included, that they just talk freely about, you know, how to mentor each other and whatnot. So I put the topic out there to kind of see, hey, who else would be interested in getting together to talk about lean outside of it, like a one-on-one or almost like personal coaching, so to speak. But I think it goes kind of both ways where kind of everyone kind of coaches each other. So Karen and Sarah, I'll kind of pass the baton on to you. Do you guys want to talk to us about what it's like?
Well, I can start because it was kind of my suggestion to Karen. And the idea of it came out of just, you know, there's not a ton of women in construction in any way. And we have very kind of different roles in our respective companies. So I thought it would be cool to just get together and, you know, chat and see if we've got similar experiences or different or how we handle things, whatever. And, you know, it's just really candid and casual. And I think I don't know what Karen thinks, but I think we just kind of had some fun and, you know, got to maybe feel like somebody else is suffering the same as we are. And yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah.
From my perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Sarah's idea. And, you know, I think that Sarah originally thought it was more of a one-way flow that she would learn from me, but, you know, quickly it was discovered that it was a mutual flow. So I think that's it. So that's the thing is it's peer mentoring in both directions, not just one way necessarily, because, you know, we have different experiences and have learned, you know, let's say continuous improvement things in different manners and just, yeah, different ways of approaching things. So it's definitely a two-way learning thing. And it's yeah, I don't know, it's like you're talking to a friend, but it's just a bit more focused of a conversation to sort of, you know, make it a productive discussion. Not that we can't digress and talk about other things as well, but it just kind of gives us something that we know we want to cover as a topic while we're getting together. So yeah, some of it's in person, some of it's virtual. So it just, you know, with whatever's going on with COVID that week is how we approach it. So
I'd say like it's fun too because, you know, in the past, all of my kind of quote unquote peer mentors always worked for the same company as me or, you know, were clients of ours. And there's only so much you can really candidly get into about your perspectives of things because you never know if somebody's going to, you know, react in a uncomfortable way, or especially a client, you got to be careful. So it's kind of nice, like, you know, for someone like Karen and myself, we are in the same industry, but very, very rarely connect, right? Like,
yeah, our companies don't really work together, so there's not sort of things that we would inadvertently reveal that would disadvantage our companies or something.
Totally.
Yeah, it's been great so far. We started I don't know, November maybe.
Yeah, it was before Christmas, I think.
Yeah. Anyway, so it's not been too long, but it's been great so far, and it just kind of, we don't have a formal structure of timing. It's more just when topics arise and we text each other, and
like next week we're going to be talking about some architectural questions that I have for Karen that I'm bringing in my estimator from ideal. So that's going to be really cool. I'm excited.
Oh, and I'm going to ask you some questions too. Just coincidentally, they've come. So, yeah.
That's going to be awesome.
Awesome. I've always said before, like, you'd be surprised what you get out of me for a hot dog at Costco, right? But ever since COVID came in, like, I don't get a lot of Costco dates anymore. So
I have to attribute, or I have to give, kudos to Sarah, because she was the one that sort of just, took the jump and asked me if I'd be interested. So, that was a nice, fearless thing for her to do, because I'm sure she also was concerned that I might be like, no, I'm not interested, and, get rejected.
Legit. It was like asking somebody out on a date. Like, it was so uncomfortable. I was like, what if she doesn't like me?
But I mean, the thing is I think it's worth asking, because the worst that's going to happen is the person's just going to say, no, I'm not interested, or I'm not available. So yeah. I think you won't die.
Exactly. And I'll put it out there. If anyone wants to talk, you have two people here, Karen and Sarah, that I'm pretty sure will answer the phone on the other side of things. I'll also put my hand up there as well too. You even see me as well too. I would definitely be available to help talk, and anyone else within the Lean community. At this point here, if you guys want to continue talking, we can just use the reactions. Otherwise, I will be going on to the next topic. And I'm not seeing any emojis pop up, so I'm thinking this one's complete. We go to the next one. The next topic we have here is Lean is about metrics and continuous improvement. Where are the people, or what are the people? Whose topic was this one in particular?
It's mine.
Hey, Shafraz, do you want to just kind of introduce it real quick before I put the timer up?
Yeah, it seemed to have cut off the card. Can you expand it? I was just saying, what are people measuring?
What are people measuring? There you go.
Wanting to know if what people are measuring, how they're measuring, and how is that helping continuous improvement?
Great. I'll put the timer up for 6 minutes and we'll have a discussion there. So what metrics are you using out there, Lean community, and how are you measuring it?
Well, I can give an example from my A3 that I'm doing right now. I am working on our payroll process, and the metrics that I'm using are the hours that we spend working on it in respective tasks and reviewing and stuff like that. And the other metric I have is how happy everybody is. So I have like a scale that I check every week, and I ask around the office and go, okay, was this a happy payroll? Was this an unhappy payroll? And kind of get a number out of it. So we've had weeks where it was a 2. We've had weeks that were an 8. I think that helps look at what needs to be improved, not just looking at it was 40 hours last week, it's 38 hours this week. That's cool too, but the both together makes a lot more sense. So that's something I'm measuring.
Do you actually poll people, Sarah?
100%, yeah.
So you send out a poll, or you just ask them? Oh.
No, I like to do it in person or on the phone or whatever, but have an actual conversation about it so that I can get not only their overall feel about it, but also some targeted responses. So maybe they say, this payroll was a 2 for me, and this is where my pain was. That helps me to, tailor potential solutions moving forward. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. That's a really good one. I like the idea of having a metric that's kind of qualitative, where you're talking about, was it a good day? Was it a bad day? Because that gives a more robust feedback of what's going besides just the quantitative data.
Sorry, they also go hand in hand. So more often than not, a really happy payroll, our hours have gone way down, right? So anyway.
I can share one. Sorry I was late, everybody, but we're doing A3s, and we're trying to get every job site the office does one, at least one every week, and we're trying to get every job site to do one, and we track, on average how many seconds per day or per week we're saving, and then we have a master spreadsheet that we add them all into, and then we just keep a running total of how many seconds we're saving. And we have a goal for the year. I can't remember what it is, how many hours or seconds, but anyway, so that's one thing that we've started doing, and it's kind of fun to see the seconds keep adding up and growing. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty granular to be going to seconds. That's
Oh, I
impressive.
know.
Not just minutes.
Every second counts. Yeah.
That's right. And that's how we had to sell it to our guys on the field, because they're like, when you first talk about continuous improvement and A3s, they're like, oh, well, they're looking at saving hours. We said, no, like literally, if it saves you 30 seconds and you times that by 100 or 150 people, it's a big difference. So we had to do it in seconds just to get them to even consider it, right? So
the other cool thing is that if you ask someone, can you save an hour out of the day? No one's got time for that. But
No.
Hey, can you just shave a second off? Like, yeah, I could do that. I'll just move my pen over there, because it's all about creating and supporting the habit of improvement rather than going after a goal. So yeah, that's really cool. Thanks, Daryl. Yeah. Anyone else got something?
Well, just to add, what we do on project teams is we actually do like a quarterly survey on team health checks. So we check in on everything from the morale to are you feeling heard? Are you feeling you're engaged? Or is there anything that bugs you? Are you is there anything the team can do to support anything further? So we actually do the formal sort of a survey monkey on a project every 3 months. So ensuring that people help. And it's surprising. Sometimes the metrics do go down. So that's our good way to try and resolve anything that's a challenge.
Yeah, that's really good. Like it's good for us not to take for granted the health check of our team. We get focused on the other stuff and we forget about the some of the more qualitative stuff, that the foundational thing that helps the team performs better. Another good thing too is plus deltas at the end of meetings. If you track your plus deltas, how you can improve, what you can improve. There's certain metrics out of there too as well. Like, this was a successful meeting, this is an unsuccessful meeting, and some opportunities for learning. And then, sharing those things out there, sharing the metrics as much as possible, and not keeping them behind closed doors. That's also critical as well too. You're tracking these things, but making sure that you're sharing them and promoting them in some way, because you never know where ideation is going to come from. And also, you want to be transparent, so people don't think, oh, you're tracking all this information. What are you doing with it, right? Are you trying to hold it over us? So talking about what the metric is and sharing the purpose of it, the why behind it, goes a long way too as well.
Shafraz, do you do the Survey Monkey anonymously?
Yes and no. It depends on the team. We sometimes we are able to ask for permission on their written comments to say, hey, if you have written comments on how we can improve, let us know who you are. The number ones, like, please rate your feeling 1 to 5. That's usually anonymous.
Okay, so on that note here, we'll make sure that we'll use the reactions, either give them plus signs or heart symbols if you want to keep on going. Otherwise, we'll move on to the next topic. And I'm not seeing any, so I'm going to go to the next topic. Next topic here is, I'm interested in knowing examples of how other offices use Kanban for their weekly resource allocation. Whose particular topic was this one, if you don't mind introducing it?
That was me, Shannon.
Awesome. Thanks, Shannon.
As part of our lean training, we did our individual Kanban. And then I had been talking to Lindsay at Avid about, I had seen when I was in their office that they have an office Kanban that they use for tracking all their projects and what everybody's going to work on that week. So I've implemented that in our office, and it's a little bit different for us. We have like 25 projects going at once, and it's a little hard to manage. Like the Avid wall is small. Our wall is like a whole wall of our office, and it's a bit unwieldy, and we're early at it. Like we're all just kind of like doing the continuous change every week. Everybody's had some suggestions on how to make it better. But I thought this group might be able to help with, if they're doing it in their offices, how they do their resource allocation every week, if there was any suggestions anybody had, or unfortunately I'm at home, I don't have a picture of mine to get advice on how I could improve ours, if anybody had any suggestions.
No worries. I'll put the timer on the clock there and see, hey, can we help Shannon come up with some different ways to do their weekly resource allocation via a project Kanban board? So who's got some experience on there that would like to kind of share with the team?
I remember from our training that Steve actually had a really good sort of setup in sort of Miro of tracking the boards and then allocating people to it so that everything could actually flow through sort of that online Miro board, because in the office setting, your wall is actually only so big. And the Miro board is theoretically infinitely big. But I just thought it was really interesting to see how Steve organized his team and sort of the projects in that sort of flow, in that patterning. I don't really know enough from it. I just got a glimpse of like, oh, that I should ask him more about sort of that system of how he uses it.
I'll bug him then.
That's Steve with Inspire.
Yeah.
He's not on the call right now, but I was there when they created it. But it kind of went the other direction there. It didn't flow from the personal Kanban boards to the project. They had their project Kanban board, and they used it again on Miro board because they run a hybrid office environment where not everyone can be within the office. So they needed something virtual for them to share their kind of Kanban board with the entire office. So they used Miro board. They put all their projects up there, and they chunked them down into 2 weeks. So said, they went vertical weeks up for an entire year, and horizontal projects. They color coded them by customer as well too. So at a glance, you can kind of see which customers are there. And they chunked down different activities that had to occur within each of those weeks. So they didn't just say this project from this date. They actually went down, they did some pre-planning, and they divided it up. Here are some activities that have to happen in each of these weeks for these projects to support their milestone goals. And they met on it monthly, sometimes earlier than that, to make sure that was still live. Then what they did is they took those activities per week and they put them down to a personal Kanban board. So each individual member of their team had their own Kanban board there on the Miro board. And again, they just kind of went 3 vertical sections where this is what I have in queue, this is what I'm committing to today, and this is what I have complete. And they would assign certain activities via something fun. Either they would put a sticky, they had little totems where they had stickies with Miro board, and they put stickers on and said this person is on this activity, this person is on that activity, so that each individual could kind of go to the project board and then grab those stickies down to the personal one, and then they would chunk them down to the daily activities that they would do, and then they would meet every day. This is what I'm working on, and this is what I'm completing, and they would have a quick kind of stand up every day, and they cycle through, and they report back weekly to see the progress to their project board.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah. We did something similar to that at OCE as well too, but we had like rolly boards as well too. Of course, if I knew Miro had existed back then, we would have had it all on Miro. But there's something really cool about when you're in an office environment. When the majority of your people are in the office, I would say put stickies up on the wall. The bigger the wall, the better. And we had rolling boards where the wall wasn't big enough, so we were able to stack everything kind of like behind each other. But now with, after COVID, very rare are you going to see the majority of your people in the same office. There's some sort of aspect of people being remote and virtual. So, try to leverage some technology like Miraboard, because it's free. It's free to use. We're using Miraboard right now. And that way you can kind of, MacGyver something until you find a way that makes it work. Because Miraboard is basically a blank canvas that you can use and just edit it, revise it. Even on Inspires with their personal boards, they went through a couple iterations of their project boards and personal Kanban boards until they got something that stuck.
One thing we have found is that some people who've had no experience with planning their lives and they just to react what I throw on their desk, they struggled the first week or two to fill their week. They would say they only had work till about midday Wednesday, even though they're working all week. So they're getting a little better at actually planning their lives by visually seeing it on the board and going, I know I'm not going to be busy or quiet on Thursday. So what am I doing? So that's been kind of helpful in our office. We're all expanding that forward thinking by seeing it visually in front of us. So definitely been an uptake for us.
Oh yeah, you make the invisible visible.
Yes.
I kind of have one of those actually. There's a huge wall in my office that's like whiteboard, and I've split it up into 3 categories. I've got like notes for the day, side quests, which are things that I can do when I have nothing else to do, and main story, which are the things that I'm working on all the time. Yeah, it's fun. Like it's really helpful when I have a down 20 minutes or something, or like waiting for a meeting to start or whatever, and I can look up at my side quests and go, okay, I can knock that off right now. So.
What were your categories again? Side quests.
Yeah, I can show you actually. If you can see that at all.
Not really, but you get the gist of it.
So I got like main story and side quests and notes.
Cool.
Because I'm a video game nerd.
That
Side
is
quests
quite the
works
huge
for
write.
me.
Well, on that note, everyone, we're at the time. If you guys want to continue talking about this one, use the reactions to thumb it up or give it hearts, and we can continue talking about these different type of boards, or we can move on to the next topic.
I just think Sarah needs an off the beaten path section.
Totally.
No worries. I'm not seeing any reactions on there, so we're going to go to the next one. Cool. Next project is, how do you select a project? So this one, whose topic was this one?
This was mine.
Hey, Christian, if you don't mind introducing this particular one, and then we'll set the timer up and we can have a discussion about it.
I've been reading a lot lately about how to select a project, and there's like checklists you can use and things like that. But it comes down to a lot of, I find, infighting. Like, no, my project's more important than yours. No, my project's more important than yours. So do you guys just select a referee who says, no, this is important. This is the most important one to the business right now to work on, or how do you guys select a project?
Cool. All right. So I'm going to set the timer up the clock, and we'll see if we can give Christina some help about how to select internal projects.
So what do you mean by projects specifically? Do you mean like lean improvements, or is this like,
Yes.
like just regular like work projects?
Yeah, so lean projects.
Okay.
And do you only have one underway at a time? Like, I feel like in our office, different people are working on different things. So
Yeah.
Yeah, we
there's
find that
4 or 5
don't-
people doing one thing, and maybe one person's doing another, and it's sort of a bunch of things are going on at the same time.
Yeah, it seems like there's waves. There's like a floodgate opens. Like, oh, we've got these 100 ideas that everybody wants to work on, but we have limited resources. We can only work on 1 or 2 things at a time. So, it ends up being, well, there's just too many things to work on. We're not going to work on any of them.
Mm-hmm.
I like it
Well, why don't you have everybody just sort of own their own thing? Like each person, you know, they find something that they'd like to accomplish or work on, then, you know, they own it as opposed to
We did that
battling
for
it
a
out.
while. It's just gotten to the point now where everything is kind of affecting, you know, everything needs to be more integrated than just the standalone ones that everybody worked on.
You
So
could try making either virtual or in person a matrix to try and figure out how impactful they are. I haven't seen this diagram for a while, so I'm not going to probably describe it very well, but like it's a graph and one axis is how impactful the item is, and then the other axis is how much effort it will be. And so you place everything like as a sticky on there, and so then you can maybe identify the low-hanging fruit, like not very much effort but impactful, and then that might help you just get through those ones fast and be impactful. And but then everyone can kind of see the relative prioritization. Like I wouldn't say do it just yourself, but do it with your team, whoever's part of this sort of decision making, to sort of say, oh, this looks like where we might, you know, have some good impact, and just like get those checked off the list. That might be a way to help prioritize.
like this has the most chance of success, whereas this has a higher chance of failure. So maybe we'll deal with that one later.
Not even that, but like how much effort will it take to do it, or like whether it's time and people or expenses. So there might be something that's really inexpensive to do, but it will have a big impact. So then you could kind of see that is something that, you know, everyone would agree, hopefully, that it's a good thing to start on. So, but you may want to get your group to go through this rating process together to say, is this a lot of effort? Yes or no? And is this a lot of impact? Yes or no? And then just kind of put it on this graph of where everything is. So
Right on.
may help.
Yeah, thank you, Karen.
I'll look and see if I can find an example of that image, because I'm not sure I'm describing it very well.
I think I know the one you're talking about. I've been reading, like I said, so many things lately, and there's ones that are checklists and there's ones that are graphs, and yeah, I think I remember what you're talking about. But
yeah, it's a 2x2 impact versus effort matrix.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll find out. I'll throw a link on the board. But you can use different categories besides effort and impact. You can use like chance of success.
Yeah, that's
okay.
And profitability too. Whatever two categories you choose to help stratify the projects. And again, you're going to go after that kind of upper right corner projects.
Okay.
And when you're kind of quantifying it, don't really super analyze it. Just kind of go, it's here, it's there, and just kind of split them off. Don't worry about how much effort it is. Just so, is it this quadrant or that quadrant? It's go or no go, right? Okay. And if you can't make a decision, just have someone facilitate. Just it's here, right? And that will kind of draw the crowd. Go, no, it's this way, right? Or do a quick vote of hands, and then just kind of go with it. You just need to do a quick glance or a first blush quantification of it, and then from there you should be able to give you some feedback to how to allocate which team to do what.
That should help with buy-in too, then, because then everybody agrees this is the project we need to work on.
So, Christina, here's a question that I have, and it's have you done like the simple task of like fix what bugs you?
Oh yeah.
Has everybody done the fix that bugs you?
Yeah, like I said, we're at the point where we're ready to take on more integrated, more all-encompassing projects.
Okay, so the little fixes, the fixes that bug you, has that actually transformed the office into sort of like, hey, I actually believe in this stuff? And
for sure. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, then all those ideas that Karen and Abel are stating, I think are right on the track. Because I was like, well, if we fix what bugs you first, then we can start, because that starts to lead to the stepping stones of like the bigger projects of like, this bugged me first, but I didn't realize that this was sort of a sub piece to this piece or this piece or this piece. And so then it starts to build from there off of those pieces. But what you're saying is that your team is really scattered in regards to sort of like the implementation of sort of lean practices. So it needs to be sort of focused down in it. So I think that what they're saying is actually a really good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, so at this point here, we're at the time. So everyone, if you want to sit there and use your reactions to either thumb this one up or not, and I'll get some thumbs up. So we'll continue talking about this particular project. So I'll put another 3 minutes on the clock and we'll continue going.
The other thing, Christina, and this is like a funny thing to say, but sometimes you need a benevolent dictator. Like sometimes when you just sort of say, oh, everyone can have a say, and then no one really sort of takes charge and sort of, you know, makes decisions. So you may just have to take that role and say, okay, well, everyone seems to be pretty easygoing with all of these, so I'm just going to decide, and just so that we can do something. So you may need to just say that I'm going to be the one that does that, or maybe
you need the gavel,
one
right?
of your exactly, or one of your bosses maybe is the right person. I mean, it depends on your organization, but yeah, sometimes if you just leave it to be that it's like fully democratic, you don't get anywhere. So
It's true. You get mired in debate. Well, this project's more important. No, this project's more important, but this project's more important. Yeah.
So Karen, were you the benevolent dictator in Rockcliffe-Shiloh for a while, or?
No, I do have bosses, and they ultimately make the important decisions for sure. But no, I mean, just it more in like project meetings and stuff where, you know, there's sort of no consensus particularly, but it also everyone's good with any option. Sometimes I'm like, okay, well then this is what we're doing. So it's not it's not like ultimate, like just Christina, if you're doing this to do with lean stuff doesn't mean you're taking over the whole company. It just is like when you can see that there's too much, I don't know even know if apathy is the right word, but too much everyone is just like, oh, I'm okay with what everyone else is choosing, then nothing will get chosen, right? That often happens in meetings. Everyone's sort of too polite. So sometimes you just need someone to say, okay, this is what we're going to do, because it doesn't seem like otherwise we're going to make a decision. So yeah, no, I'm not. I only, you know, prod it when it just seems like it's going nowhere.
We'll just change the terminology from benevolent dictator to neutral party.
Sure, yeah, or just leader, you know, like that's what it really is that sometimes you need to have a specific leader.
Or what you can do is you can use a tool called the Pew method, and I'll put a link on there, where you find ways to quantify through classifications or categories the importance of this particular project, besides just 2 categories of impact or effort or whatever, and then you give them ratings, and then you're able to sit there and quantify and stratify the projects, and then from there you go, okay, well, who's got the right resource aligned to it, and then that way you're able to both, you know, be the benevolent dictator, but no one has to take that crux on. It can be an impartial kind of like AI that does it for you. So we're at time now, and we're actually at time for the entire lean coffee. Well, we're going to be moving on to key takeaways. So I'm going to bring everyone to the board here. Now, y'all got to participate with this for free, but it's not for free. You have to give some feedback. So as part of the continuous learning for the COP, we need your plus deltas. So if you can, just create some new cards here. Plus, what did you like? And or delta, what did you dislike? So plus could be, what would you like us to continue doing? Continue doing. Did you have an aha moment? You know, you had like this was cool. Or delta, what would you like us to, you disliked, or want us to stop doing, or you would like us to start doing something? And I'll give us a few minutes here to generate some topics.
Hey, Val.
Yep.
I can only, I've got it set up so that I'm seeing the people's faces. How do I get back to the Miro board?
So if you look on the upper right hand of your screen, there's like three kind of like bent bars next to where it shows attendance, chat, the reactions, or there's like the three little ellipse. And when you pull it in, you have an option to sit there and press that in case you closed your Miro board by accident. You can open it back up again.
Okay.
It's the Miro logo.
And if you hover over it, it says Lean Coffee 2022-0218.
Okay, so what brave soul would like to share their plus delta with the group?
Yeah, I can share my plus. I was really fascinated in hearing about the Miro board that you described that Inspire does. That gave me something to think about. Yeah, it's like, oh, neat. What a neat way to think about using Miro, and plus electronically. If you have to reshuffle everything, it's easier to do it electronically than with individual stickies or pieces of paper. So yeah, neat. Thank you.
Awesome. Anyone else like to share their plus delta?
My plus was fun to get back to a traditional lean coffee. I don't think we've done one since, what was it, September? So that was kind of cool, like hearing other voices and not just watching a presentation, but like having, you know, a lot of active conversation is super fun. So I love that.
Yeah, it helps build our community up for sure.
Totally.
Definitely deep teas on our community in regards to lean practice, right? And the abundance mentality for us to share openly. Anyone else like to share their plus delta?
I will.
Sure.
I had my plus was that I really appreciate hearing applications of lean from other industry people to expand my narrow vision of it for right now, having just completed my lean training. So I appreciate everything that you guys have said today.
Awesome. I've always said the lean coffee is like Lean Anonymous, so you have to keep going to keep it refreshed, and you can come down and we can all commiserate together, so to speak. So we're at time now, and I just wanted to tell everyone I'm going to be taking a recording of this onto our YouTube page. I'll be posting a link to our Lean Community of Practice LinkedIn board, and our next Lean Coffee, save the date. It's going to go back to a presenter model. It's going to be March 18th. It's going to be James Simon with AHS, and he's going to present on lean when it matters. So lean in the health environment. And again, has it anything to do with construction? No, but you'd be surprised at how the challenges that they face and how they address them. It's going to be quite similar to the challenges that you yourself are facing and how you address them as well too, because you never know where ideation is going to come from. So on that note, I want to thank everyone for joining us, and I'll leave the board live for a little bit. So if you wanted to go in there and check it out, please do so, add some topics. And you can also hit the comment buttons on each of the different cards where I tried to paraphrase some of the, I took notes during the session of what people were saying. So if you wanted to sit there and go through that versus just watching the video, it's all there for you. So on that note, thank you everyone. I'll clap my hands and we'll be ending the session. Everyone stay safe and have a fantastic long weekend and spend some time with your family.
Thanks, Val.
Bye.
Great session.
Thanks.
Bye from lean-yeg.